All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Carte, and we're going to talk about Perseverance today. I mentioned it last week during our winter star party that I was kind of interested in updating everyone, that's all our subscribers, on the latest Perseverance news, and we got a lot back and a lot to discuss, and there's even more to come. It's barely started its mission at all, so can't wait to see where it goes from here. So today it's going to be a little bit informal. That's sort of how I discussed that last week. It's sort of what I want it to be, is a discussion. So if anyone wants to share their thoughts during the show through the chat, I'd be happy to read through them, and that way we have an open platform to discuss this historic mission. I hope you like the format I have going here tonight. We have Stellarium above me. You have, of course, my webcam view, and then we have the presenter view to the left-hand side of me, which you've seen it before if you've been to our observing streams, but I'm going to try it out for our more of a presentation mode in this case and see how it works tonight. Part of the reason Stellarium's up there is because I was not exactly sure what else to put, but I think I'll find a use for it, especially as we prepare for the observing stream tonight, because we are going to have a observing stream as well. So we're assuming everything behaves outside in the skies. When I first came up here, I'm like, oh, is it all overcast again? But thankfully, we have some decent. We're expecting to have some decent skies tonight. So if that holds out, then we're going to observe the moon. And the nice part about the moon, especially when it's full, is it breaks through the clouds, at least thinner clouds, without a problem. The Mars will be a little trickier if it is cloudy. It's still pretty bright, but as far as getting detail on the surface, you need the seeing to be pretty decent. But while we're celebrating Mars this week, I do want to try and observe it again. We've moved away from it. We're moving further along. Remember, the opposition was back in October. We did observe that event, so you can go back and check out our images from there. But we'll see what we can do tonight as far as Mars goes. So you can see on our website here, Kopernik.org, that you can see the upcoming presentations, including this one, which we're calling Rover Watch, with maybe some potential to keep a presentation like this going in the future. I don't know if that, we haven't confirmed that, of course, but as the news comes in about Perseverance, maybe we can continue to do rover watches. And maybe if there's other rovers out there, like the ESA, that's I think supposed to go to Mars in 2022 in the next sweep around the sun. So there's potential for more programs like this as we look at Perseverance and future missions. So we're going to talk about the latest news on Perseverance tonight, as well as the Moon and Mars observing program. I notice it says clear only. That is, I'll still go out there because I'm expecting it to be clear. So I'm still going to run it. It will be a separate stream, so you should have seen that on our channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button and stay up to date on our latest programs we are going to host. Okay, here's a program coming next week on March 5th, Returning to the Moon, NASA's Artemis program. That's going to be by Patricia Moore from the NASA Johnson Space Center. So stay tuned for that program next week. It's very exciting. And then if you keep on scrolling here, scroll, you get to the clear sky chart. I always like to show our audience this. I know I've showed it to you so many times, but it's how I tell if the skies are going to be clear, because it's effectively determines as close as we can get to the conditions that we're expecting in the forecast. And it gives it in more of a useful astronomy layout rather than just a traditional weather report. So you're getting cloud cover, you're getting transparency and seeing, which will affect your views of the planets. So it looks like transparency tonight and seeing is going to be a little rough, although, well, we're over here now. It looked like it was okay earlier, but it was still bright outside. Here it's looking like seeing is going to plummet So again, yeah, Mars might not be too hopeful there. But hopefully the weather starts to improve. I know we've had a really tough run here, and it's just we haven't had many clear sky opportunities, at least when we were hoping to run a program. It'd be nice to have a period where we can just set a bunch of scheduled events, and then you can expect when we're going to host an observing stream. Unfortunately, that's just not in the cards just yet. I'm going to lower my mic volume so it doesn't sound like I'm shouting at you. I see I'm peaking in the red there, so hopefully that improved a little bit. Okay, so clear sky charts, you can find that on Kopernik.org. The links for our website and social media are in the video description. Okay, so that's that. You can, of course, access our public programs and upcoming events here. We are going to continue to do these live streams for the foreseeable future, but we will update you as soon as we think we can start running in-person events again. So hopefully soon. Okay. So it's like I said, it's going to be informal. Don't hesitate to put your own comments in the chat as I discuss these things. I'm going to check the chat every once in a while. I won't have any specific Q&A session at the end. This is sort of a new format I wanted to test out, and something I've kind of done before in our previous streams, but we're making more of a thing out of it this time. Good test bed for it. So I see some people are just saying hello. Oh, we have someone from Germany, Hans Martin Kirka, if I pronounced the name correctly. Welcome from Germany. Very cool. What time would it be in Germany? Is it like a 6-hour or 8-hour? I can't remember. Change. Well, which that would be pretty significant, though. You're staying up pretty late. Well, welcome. We're happy to have you. And hi, Nicholas and Robert. Good to see you. Okay. Well, let's get started talking about Perseverance. The best place to go to learn more about the rover is mars.nasa.gov/Mars2020. And that's the website right here. So I gotta say, they did a phenomenal job this time around with their website presentation. There's just so much thrown out right in front of you. Like, oh my gosh, the fact that they're running like animated GIFs of the rover landing on the surface and the parachute deploying just to get your attention right up front. Oh wow, that's amazing. So there's the heat shield that popped off, just an image of it. There is also a video that we will react to and we'll check out. Of course, I've already seen it. Maybe you've already seen it as well. But we will definitely watch that and get it. I'd love to hear your reactions out of it if you have not seen it. It's showing you the sols on Mars, so that's effectively days, Martian days. So it's worth noting a Martian day is about a half hour longer than ours, so it's pretty close. So if you went to Mars, you wouldn't really have to worry too much about the change from day to night. You wouldn't really feel too much of an impact. A half hour is significant, but it's not like you're like on Jupiter where it rotates like every 9 hours. So this is effectively the same day. It's just a little bit longer. So it's been there just over a week. It landed on February 18th, and it's been there just over a week, and we've gotten some great data back from the rover, and you can see some of it playing out here. We're going to check out the Meet Perseverance tab in a little bit. That will give us a nice 3D model to inspect, and we can look at some of the instrumentation. And we also have a live update feed of the images that are coming down. So it says we've gotten 5,614 images so far, and 964 are new. So I assume new means like within the last 24 hours or something like that. Maybe the last day or two. And there's also some Martian audio that we can listen to. Now, I'm not exactly sure how well it's going to play through the stream, but at least I'll show you where to find it on here, and you can listen to it at home through this website. You should be able to see over the stream. Let me make sure I'm previewing it here. Yeah, hopefully it's coming through enough where you can actually see the web address at the top. But again, this one is mars.nasa.gov/Mars2020. So you can visit there, or just search in Google Mars Perseverance rover, and that'll probably be the first website that comes up. Let me check the chat here. Oh, Hans says it's 1:13 a.m. Wow, awesome. Well, I'm glad you're tuning in live here. And Nicholas says, hello, Jeremy, Leander, Eleni, Catherine, and Nicholas are watching in Lehman, New York. Well, awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I love to hear where you're from. So type in the chat, especially if you're new to the channel and I'm not familiar with your name there. It's interesting, since I can only communicate with you all through chat right now. I can't put a face to the name, but I can certainly attach, I guess, personalities to the name, if that makes sense. I do remember you. At least I do my best to remember you for those that come up, because we do have regular viewers pretty frequently. So. Let us know where you are if you're new, or even just a reminder to me. Okay, let's see. If you scroll down here, it'll give you some brief mission info talking about the Mars helicopter. And that helicopter is called Ingenuity. It's probably not going to get deployed at all until the spring of this year. So the rover first needs to start its mission. And Ingenuity has always been more of an experiment than anything else. It's not really designed as a critical mission point for this rover. If it works, that's awesome. And it gives us a lot of opportunity in the future to use powered flight vehicles like the Ingenuity in future Martian missions. But this is probably best compared to the Sojourner rover that was part of the Pathfinder mission. The Sojourner rover was a small little RC car-sized rover. It was pretty small. I think it's been compared to a microwave oven. I've heard it compared to that. So pretty small rover, and its main purpose was to go there and figure out if you could drive a rover around on Mars successfully. And it was a critical mission because look where we are now. NASA has successfully landed another, in addition to Curiosity, another car-sized rover on the red planet. So that was a critical mission, but it didn't have a lot of immediate, mission behind it. It did explore its surrounding area, but it didn't last very long. But it led to Opportunity and Spirit in 2004, Curiosity in 2012, and Perseverance in 2021 here. So it launched it July 30th and landed February 18th. It's on Jezero Crater, just about on the rim of Jezero Crater now. And the mission, unlike Curiosity's main mission was to explore the ancient habitability of Mars. So was it even habitable in the past? Did it have flowing water or liquid water on the surface? Did it have the necessary components for life? So it's obviously not really habitable now to life, although maybe some form of Earth-based life could survive there. We have some pretty resilient microbes, for instance, tardigrades. They're microscopic creatures, but they can survive just about anything. They can survive in the vacuum of space. So maybe something could survive there, but especially in terms of regular life, things that, like us humans or animals, that need to take in oxygen, there's no way we could survive on Mars right now. It's got a carbon dioxide atmosphere. It's a very thin atmosphere. It's too cold. There's a bunch of reasons why it just wouldn't work if we were just to go there without a spacesuit or anything. Now, we could survive there with a life support system. That's certain. But it takes a lot of engineering and resources to do so. And hopefully in the next, couple of decades, humans do eventually get to Mars. But it's a challenge unlike any other. It'll be even more complex than landing on the moon. Landing on the moon, you fly for 3 days, you're on the moon, you stay there for a little bit, you come back, it's a 3-day flight again. Mars is, 13 to 14 months round trip, if not even a little more. And that's a long time to be in space. It's a long time to be in a zero-G environment. There are a lot of issues, and it's a long time to be away from the protection of the Earth's magnetic field and to be exposed to both our sun's radiation and cosmic radiation, which can damage the human body. And Mars doesn't have that magnetic field to protect humans either, so you'd have to worry about that too. So there's challenges to meet here. Perseverance is a step towards meeting those challenges. Now, as far as Perseverance mission goes, like I mentioned, Curiosity was look for habitability, ancient habitability of Mars. Perseverance is looking for evidence for ancient life. Effectively, Perseverance is an astrobiologist, and it's there to look at the soil samples, rock samples. It is able to take in rock samples and not fully destroy them or take them apart, or vaporize them with its little eye laser, which this is its eye laser up here. It can actually zap rocks and detect their composition. Curiosity has the same system on it. It can actually take in bigger, fuller rocks and analyze them for even fossils. If we found a fossil on Mars, wow, that would be world-changing news. And Perseverance has the capability to do that. So Perseverance is an astrobiologist. Okay. And let's see. I won't talk. There's a nice view of the landing system, which we are going to discuss in a moment here. We're going to watch the video from the rover. This is the jetpack system, and it's really called the sky crane system, because you can see the rover gets suspended from this jetpack and touches down. The reason for that is because if this sky crane was too close to the ground, it would kick up way too much material and potentially damage the rover. So it needs to deploy the rover and descend it on these cables, and then eventually it cuts them and the jetpack flies off and crash lands a safe distance away. So that's how it was deployed on Mars. This is just a picture. Of course, there was no camera set up there to take this picture ahead of time. So this is just, I think, from their animation that they developed to show how this process would work. There's the helicopter, which we can check out later. We're going to talk about this 360 panorama. It looks like there is. We might check out that map too. We're waiting on the website. There's supposed to eventually be a website where you can track the rover on the surface and see what it's doing at a given time. I think it might take a while for that to get going, and I forget even what it's called, but I did see that they were looking to introduce that. This right here is showing you the sample collection process. So it can take cores from the planet, drilled out cores, pieces of Mars, and it's even capable of taking those in and storing them in the rover in capsules or little test tubes. And those capsules will eventually return to Earth on a future mission. And that's very exciting as well. The possibility of retrieving something from this rover, and more than that, getting future robots to interact with each other. That's pretty new too. Usually like Perseverance is in fact like one of the first rovers to have a good companion, and that's in Ingenuity. So it has a little robot pal to join it on its mission, and that's pretty unique. And there's even more future potential for another robot interacting with Perseverance, which would be pretty cool. Usually, these robots are exploring very different parts of Mars. Curiosity and Perseverance are in different locations, and they can't really realistically meet up. But there is potential for that here with the capsules that are eventually going to be returned to Earth with Martian samples. And again, I think the ESA mission is a part of that. Let me stop for a second and check out the chat. Let's see. Where did I end here? Oh, with Maria watching from Appalachian. Hello, Maria. And we have Oliver from Tonawanda. Tawanda. I think I had too many syllables in there. And J Cash, something, from Wyalusing, Pennsylvania. Nicholas says Eleni is 6 and is a great fossil finder. So if anyone can find a fossil on Mars, she can. Well, awesome. Maybe she'll be one of the first astronauts on the Martian surface. Very cool. Because yeah, we need scientists to visit Mars to actually know exactly what they're looking at and know exactly where to go on the Martian surface to collect the best samples. And then we have someone from Johns Creek, Georgia. Hello, Jack and Judy. Okay, so again, if anyone new is tuning in, feel free to enter questions or comments in the chat, and I will visit them again in a bit. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you. I think we're almost to, what would it be, 2,200 subscribers? We're very close. So I want to thank you all for your support on that front. And continuing to grow Kopernik's channel and grow our community, which I think is the most important thing. Okay. Also, if you like this video, hit the like button too. That is also a good way to show your support. Okay, so there's the sample collection there. I'm sorry, I had that repeating for a long time. I'm sure that might have gotten a little distracting. So I think we should start here with some of the most important footage that I've seen in perhaps my lifetime. I was born, of course, after the Apollo missions. I guess my parents were born just at the age of Apollo, so like 1970s, basically. So while I love looking at that footage, and I find it extremely intriguing to observe and whatnot. I haven't really had something so significant as this happen in my lifetime. Something so clear and such good video footage that I am left with a lot of emotions, I gotta say. And I don't want to say much more than that if you have not seen this yet. I'm just going to let it speak for itself to start, and then we can talk about it more. So let's go on over to this video here. Let's see, how should I do this? Theater mode? Yeah, theater mode's the way to go. Because if I zoom in, it's going to affect how the stream is formatted, so I'm not going to bother too much there. Okay, so let's hit play. I'll turn the volume on so we can hear it.
Straighten up and fly right maneuver, where the spacecraft will jettison the entry balance masses in preparation for parachute deploy and to roll over to give the radar a better look at the ground.
Indicate chute deploy.
The navigation has confirmed that the parachute has deployed, and we are seeing significant deceleration in the velocity. Our current velocity is 440 meters per second at an altitude of about 12 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
Heat shield set.
Perseverance is now slowed to subsonic speeds, and the heat shield has been separated. This allows both the radar and the cameras to get their first look at the surface. Current velocity is 145 meters per second at an altitude of about 9.5 kilometers above the surface.
Nav filter converge. Velocity solution 3.3 meters per second. Altitude 7.4 kilometers.
Now has radar lock on the ground. Current velocity is about 100 meters per second, 6.6 kilometers above the surface of Mars. Perseverance is continuing to descend on the parachute. We are coming up on the the initialization of terrain relative navigation and subsequently the priming of the landing engines. Our current velocity is about 90 meters per second at an altitude of 4.2 kilometers.
LVS valid.
We have confirmation that the lander vision system has produced a valid solution and part of terrain relative navigation.
Priming.
TBA is nominal.
We have priming of the landing engines.
Back shell set.
Current velocity is 83 meters per second at about 2.6 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have confirmation that the back shell has separated. We are currently performing the divert maneuver. Current velocity is about 75 meters per second at an altitude of about a kilometer off the surface of Mars.
TRN Safety Bravo.
We have completed our terrain relative navigation. Current speed is about 30 meters per second, altitude of about 300 meters off the surface of Mars. We have started our constant velocity accordion, which means we are conducting the sky crane, about to conduct the sky crane maneuver. Sky crane maneuver has started, about 20 meters off the surface.
We're getting signals from MRO.
Tango Delta.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking.
Okay, so it's worth noting that this footage of a Martian landing and the audio from Mission Control, the footage was recorded at the same time, effectively, with the light speed lag, of course, but effectively at the same time that Mission Control was reacting, with like the 12-minute light speed delay. It takes, for those that are wondering what I mean by that, it takes 12 minutes for the signal from Mars to reach Earth. So when Perseverance is telling Mission Control the steps it's taken, there's actually a 12-minute delay between that signal. They weren't receiving this video footage at that time, though, back on Thursday. They were only receiving pings and heartbeats and brief information about what the rover was doing at that time. The video footage would be way too large, and the image, that video was actually pieced together from a lot of images taken all at once, which, I mean, effectively is what video is anyhow, but there's a little bit of a distinction on how the processing works. But it turns out you end up getting a nice HD video from those images taken. So there is that delay, but they weren't reacting to that footage. They were reacting to hearing that the rover successfully touched down on Mars. So it's worth noting, but it's spliced in to show you what was happening on Mars while the mission control was celebrating. So pretty impressive footage, I have to say. It's, like I said, it's perhaps the most extraordinary footage I've ever seen come out of NASA, and that's saying something because there's a lot of impressive things. But you think about even though it was a different time and it was lower resolution and whatnot, you think about the astronauts on the moon during the Apollo missions and just seeing them move around on the moon and do their bunny hopping to traverse the surface and hit a golf ball, all these different clips that you see out there, or if you were there live to watch it, getting that video back, it makes you immersed in the reality of what NASA accomplished. And I think that's crucial for continuing space exploration and inspiring the public. So I think we're going to see more of this now that it was a success. And in future Mars missions with Perseverance, like one of the thoughts I had is the mass cam, which is the main stereoscopic camera system that's on the head of the rover, is it capable of recording a bunch of images like this at a high frame rate and taking a video of Ingenuity taking off? Like, I think seeing Ingenuity take off on the Martian surface would be unreal. And I don't know, I haven't heard back I haven't heard whether they have plans to do that, and that would be my question to NASA if I could speak with someone there at some point in the future. If they're planning to take a video of, or a lot of images and effectively a video of the Ingenuity helicopter, because that would be a first of its kind sort of thing, seeing it take off on the surface. So we'll see what happens there. But again, yeah, let's just go through this footage a little bit and talk about what we're seeing. Now, I discussed with our director this first shot of the parachute deploying. I couldn't help but think of our weather balloons, and there are weather balloon videos that we assembled with students during camps, and we've launched here at Kopernik. And we went to go retrieve and everything, and we got the video feed that came back. Or the video that it recorded. So this reminded me of that, and more so in just terms of clarity, and like a similar viewing angle too, of like we have cameras placed all over the weather balloon, and we're looking at all directions and above at the weather balloon, and we see it pop and it falls to Earth. That's really cool footage. But this is being sent from Mars, and it's the same, almost the same exact clarity that we get. It's HD footage of
the navigation has confirmed that the parachute has deployed.
Of the parachute deploying, and they play it at 30% speed, and it really shows you just how much information they captured because they were able to slow it down, so they could get a higher frame rate. And you can see just how amazing it looks when it deploys. That's a parachute deploying on Mars.
Has confirmed that the parachute has deployed, and we are seeing significant deceleration.
And you're often, like, with this footage, you're just left speechless. Like seeing the sun in the sun glare off the lens. That's happening through a Martian atmosphere, not the Earth atmosphere.
From the surface of Mars.
And it shows you the step-by-step of where it is in the footage. So it's showing you this part, the parachute's deployed, and the heat shield that protects it upon entering the Martian atmosphere. The heat shield is popping off, and you get to see that descend down
Heat shield set.
to the Martian surface.
Slowed to subsonic speeds, and the heat shield has been separated. This allows both the radar.
So the fact that the heat shield is falling should make some sense, right? You deployed the parachute's slowing the main capsule down, but you deploy the heat shield doesn't have a parachute, so it's going to fall faster. And it falls away from the rover. But the rover body is now exposed underneath the top capsule that's covering it. So it's getting more and more ready to land.
And the cameras to get their first look at the surface. Current velocity is.
You may watch this bit of footage and just
9.5 kilometers.
You're sort of waiting for the main event of it landing, but I think we should look at it in a different perspective, in the sense that we should view this angle of Mars and like descending on the surface as something no human has watched before.
Nav filter converge. Velocity solution 3.3 meters per second. Altitude 7.4 kilometers.
It's unique to this generation of humans. Seeing Mars from this perspective as it descends to the red planet, with
continuing to descend
being recorded by a robot the size of a car. You think more and more about these aspects of this mission.
And the timing of the landing.
I guess in that sense it does take
about 90 meters per second.
Some imagination just to realize the effort and what you're seeing in the context of your experiences and all of human experience, all our rich history and culture. This is significant. This is pieces of Mars we've never seen at this clarity in video form. You can see like these wispy, like dune-like structures of the Martian sands and these craters.
The current velocity is 83 meters per second at about 2.6
and there's some more bigger dunes of Mars.
There's confirmation that the back shell has separated.
There's just so much texture on the surface.
We're currently performing the divert maneuver. Current velocity is about 75 meters per second.
And let's see, where are we now? We're on the jetpack stage. So the jetpack has been deployed, and it's choosing, using its autonomous imaging system, it's choosing a landing spot, a perfectly flat zone in this area to safely land the rover. because this area is not ideal for that. It's very rocky, it's very mountainous, because it's right near a crater edge, and it's right near ancient lake beds and stream beds. So that's not an ideal place to land, but the imaging system was capable of it. Curiosity could not have done this mission. It did not have the equipment to do so, but Perseverance could. Now this shot right here, well, let me go back a little bit. They released something like that image on the Friday just after landing. They released that image, and that alone was amazing to see. That was a really unique perspective. But it's worth pointing out this is a good example of the camera systems that are on board. You have one on the bottom of the rover pointing down towards the Martian surface. You have one on the top of the rover that points up towards the sky crane, or the jetpack system. And you have one on the sky crane that points down towards the rover. So you get these multiple viewing angles, and this is the main purpose for these cameras, was to get this perspective. Like, for instance, the sky crane is going to go fly off and crash land, and you're not going to be able to use that camera anymore. So the sky crane camera doesn't serve a purpose anymore. The upper camera, maybe you could find a use for, and maybe NASA has thought about that. It's going to just be pointing to the sky, though, effectively. So there might be use for it, but I don't know if they really have an intention to use it much more. The one pointing towards the ground might be the one with the most use cases, just to see what's directly below the rover. But otherwise, these cameras were really designed and put on the rover to look and record these images for us to see. So extraordinary footage, and probably it's hard to pick a favorite part of this video, but if I had to pick one,
Has started.
I mean, see, this whole scene is just brilliant. You're seeing the Martian dust get kicked up by the jetpack, the jet streams from the sky crane. You're seeing the sky crane wobble back and forth in this neat perspective as the camera, since the camera's attached to the rover and they're both connected. You see all the dust get kicked up, but I'm so happy the dust wasn't so thick that you couldn't see the sky crane at the end here. Because this footage right here, watching it fly off like that, I mean, they've tested this system on Earth. We have some similar footage, I believe, of more Earth-based tests like that. But seeing this happen so successfully on Mars, when nothing can go wrong, and if it does, the landing mission, if anything goes wrong during landing, the rover's potentially toast. Watching it fly off like that is brilliant.
Confirmed.
It's very... I hesitate to call it sci-fi, because it's, of course, not science fiction. But, you know, you only often see stuff like that in movies and in shows and whatnot. So watching it happen in real life is extraordinary. So that's the landing footage, and I'll be returning to that video again and again because it's just addicting to watch. See this happen with such success, and knowing how difficult it is to perform this landing. Just brilliant on the NASA engineers' part, and we gotta congratulate them for seeing so much success there. But now the rover's landed. It's on the Martian surface, and it's getting back data, or sending back data to Earth. That's already incredible. So I want to explore some of those pictures, that audio, and that'll probably take us to the end, because wow, it's already 7:45. All right, I plan to end this around 8 o'clock or so, just so I can finish preparing the telescopes for observing tonight. So again, if you have questions or comments about the mission, maybe start putting them in now so we can talk about it more. But let me take a brief break here to say hello to anyone that's joined us now. We have Cindy from Vestal, and we have David Carter is here. Hello, David. And Linda. Hi, Linda again. Okay. So, yeah, and Linda says now it's real. And that's what's amazing is it is real. It's video from the Martian surface. Incredible. Actually, that's a great point, David. Like David says, thank you for walking us through this. It really did go by so fast. And I think that's what's nice about it is it's nice to return to this footage, and especially in a group setting here. I know all we can do is talk through chat, but just enjoy it as a group and just take it into context and talk about it together and try and process it, because it is something we have to process, much like the Apollo missions, because it makes us think outside our life, I guess, outside our own bubble, and experience something together. Experience something no human has ever seen. And I think that's super powerful. So let's see, that was the landing. Let's go back to, I guess we should take a moment to quickly look at the instrumentation. Some of the things that made this all possible. For instance, we can look at the camera systems. I think I was able to spot, I taught some classes, after school programs with students this week at Kopernik, some virtual classes, and we went looking for some of the camera systems. I guess maybe I didn't find the one that was on the bottom. Maybe this is it? Ah, yeah, here it is. So this is, down here is the rover down-look camera. Watches the ground during the dramatic ride to the surface. So again, that was really its main purpose. So that looked down towards the ground. It's an interesting shape. It's sort of like a horn. Then we have is this the uplook? I think this one over here is the uplook camera. Nope, there's meta. It's so hard to keep track of everything just because I'm sure the engineers can do it, but there's just so much going on that if you don't know what you're looking at right off the bat, it's not easy. That's meta. There's definitely an uplook camera around here somewhere, but it's somewhere pointing up towards the surface. I'm not going to spend hours looking for it. Maybe you can go find it. And on this website is listed up top, mars.nasa.gov/mars2020/spacecraft/rover. That's a mouthful. Here are the antenna systems that sent all the data back. So we have this black cylindrical antenna here. This is the UHF antenna, ultra-high frequency, transmits data to Earth using the Mars orbiters. So it actually has to send data to the satellites orbiting Mars, and then those satellites send it in packets back to Earth. And then there is this, let's click on it here. Second antenna, this is the high gain antenna. It transmits data directly to and from the Earth. So this rover can directly communicate. And I think, Curiosity definitely had a similar system, and I think even the Opportunity and Spirit rovers did as well. So they have direct communication with Earth, but they also can do higher bandwidth items and send larger packets to the satellites overhead. Okay, so those are the communication systems. Of course, this rover's a nuclear-powered rover, so it has this multi-mission radioisotope thermoelectric generator. That's a lot of words. All that is a nuclear battery, effectively. Now, of course, we can't carry nuclear batteries around in our cell phones. One, they're massive, and two, they're radioactive. Now, in principle, radioactivity isn't inherently dangerous. We're radioactive. We have radioactive isotopes within our body. Bananas are radioactive, but they're perfectly safe to eat. It's radiation that can't harm the human body. Plutonium can harm the human body, so you don't want to put plutonium in a cell phone, but you can certainly put plutonium on a rover that isn't going to be around humans. And it actually makes it so it can carry a lot more instrumentation than it would otherwise if it was powered by solar panels, and it can be a lot larger, a bigger drivetrain, be able to traverse more terrain on Mars, go visit locations that are more difficult to reach by smaller rovers. So that's a powerful system. And to give you an idea of how long this rover can last, Curiosity has the same battery on it Curiosity has been on Mars for 9 years now, or almost 9 years. I think 9 years this August. And as far as I know, NASA hasn't had to worry too much about depowering instrumentation on the rover. That will eventually have to happen. They will have to taper instrumentation off, and eventually there won't be enough energy stored in that plutonium to power the drivetrain, and the rover won't be able to move anymore. So that's coming in the future someday, but as of right now, it's lasted almost a decade. And Perseverance, we can expect a similar scenario as long as everything goes the same way. So that's a really great system that they use. They've also used similar nuclear batteries on other missions like New Horizons that took images of Pluto. You usually have to put these systems on spacecraft that can not receive enough power from the sun. Like that's why New Horizons needed one, because it was too far away from the sun to receive adequate energy. The Voyager probes had a similar system too. Okay, what else do we have here? We have the MASS system, and my students, I actually had them go through and analyze this 3D model and select some of the instrumentation that they found interesting. And we discovered a lot of new things. Like, you're looking at the neck of the MASS system. Whoop. Kind of moves on you unexpectedly sometimes. But here's the mast. And if we look at the mast elevates key camera systems and sensors, giving the rover a human-scale perspective on its environment. So it is effectively the same height. Like it'd reach up almost as high as, my eye level is. So it gives you a look at Mars that is similar to the human experience. So that's where its cameras are placed. These are the two cameras here. The SuperCam system, or no, that's not the SuperCam. That is the Mastcam Z, I think it's called. Yeah, Mastcam Z. They're stereoscopic cameras, effectively the same sensors there. And they can take 3D images, so we should see some 3D images come back from Mars. They can take super high resolution images, and we'll look at the 360 photo they took a picture of to get a sense of that. So they can take super high resolution images, and they're incredible pieces of equipment. And it's worth noting they can also take color and high definition video. Oh, wait, there we go. It can take high definition video. So my guess is NASA has a plan to take a video of Ingenuity taking off. If they don't have that in the mission plan, they're crazy, because I want to see that. Maybe I'm sure you want to see that. It'll be just as cool as seeing it land, I think, seeing something take off. Like I said, that mission really is just designed to see if you can fly something around on Mars. It does have a pair of cameras that can take pictures of the surface. So if it works, and it works really well, they could theoretically, buddy up together. And Ingenuity could fly off somewhere and analyze landscape, and Perseverance could be like, oh, maybe I want to go over there. They could be a pair and work together. But we don't know. Like if that drone tips over at all, or like flips upside down or anything, like they're probably not going to be able to recover it in any way. Maybe with its arm, Perseverance can go and find it and flip it back on the right side so it could take off again, but who knows? I'm not sure if that's a major priority for them. But anyways, also along the neck, this is what one of the students discovered, there is the META. And this META system is a weather station, which, that makes total sense. Of course you want to put a weather station on a rover that's traversing the surface of a planet with an atmosphere. So it can measure atmospheric pressure, temperature, humidity, and the winds of Mars. So I assume a similar system is on Curiosity. I don't know that for sure, but I assume it is, and maybe on the previous rovers too. Because of course you want to collect that data at a given location on Mars. You have these rovers all over the surface of the planet. You want to know what the weather's like in that given region. Is it different from the weather elsewhere? So that's crucial information, and it might also help us determine if that's a good landing spot if you have better conditions compared to other areas of Mars. Less wind, maybe better temperature, and so on. Okay, what else do I want to talk? We can talk about the super cam quickly along the mast as well. This is the oh, I just clicked on the mast again. Let's click on the super. Oh, come on. I want to click on the super cam. There we go. The super cam identifies the chemical compositions of rocks and soil from a distance. So you can see here at the center, there's this laser system that's able to zap rocks. It basically vaporizes them, and the sensor system can pick up what that material is made out of. So a really powerful tool along the rover's head there. And Curiosity has the same system aboard it, and it worked fairly well from what I understand, so it makes sense they put it on Perseverance too. There's also these HAZ cams up front and in the back. The HAZ cams are, of course, designed to autonomously avoid obstacles, but it's also used to inform rover drivers back here on Earth. But the rover is capable of driving around and moving around by itself and making some decisions, some executive decisions about where to go. If it wants to go to a particular part of Mars, but maybe it needs to take a slightly different path to avoid a certain obstacle that we didn't know about. It has some ability to operate in that way. Those are the HAZ cams. There's also nav cams next to the mass cam. So the nav cams are pretty much strictly used for navigating, looking around it, seeing where it's going to go next. There's no sense in using those to get the good images back when you have a super powerful camera system with the Mastcam Z. Okay, and then I could go on and on forever. I'll show you the Sherlock just because I love the name. It's such a cool name for a instrument on this rover. Provides fine-scale imaging and detects organic compounds and potential biosignatures. Like I said, Perseverance is an astrobiologist. So it has equipment along its arm system, including its drill and so on, but the Sherlock is used for detailed images, and it can look for specific compounds and potential biology. I wonder if I can zoom in here a little bit. Along this structure in the back, it's a little bit hard to get. Let's see. Yeah, it won't let you. That's one thing about this, is it really doesn't let you pan across the image very well. But this structure here, it's part structural integrity, but it's also this black piece here. This bit here is showing the Earth, Sun, and Moon. Or not, sorry, the Earth, Sun, and Mars. And it's also, there's some Morse code on there. I can't remember exactly what it says. But also on this section here, this rectangle is showing a couple of chips. And those chips have laser engraved names on them, or at least engraved names. I'm not exactly sure the process they use. But there are tiny little names on them. In fact, there's 10, is it 10 million? I think it's 10 million names on those chips. And I think almost all of the Kopernik staff have their names on those chips. If you went to the website that I think it's Name on Mars or something like that, you can put your name on a chip like that on a future Martian mission. And it's just sort of a symbolic way to be a part of these rover and these space exploration missions. And your name will be forever engraved on the Martian robot here, or on another mission in the future. So that's pretty cool. I recommend going to check out that website. They are planning to put it on another mission, so you can try that out. Okay, Ingenuity is stored somewhere in the body here. I'm not exactly sure where, but it gets deployed from the bottom, and then Perseverance will move away from it and hopefully record some video. Okay, so that's the instrumentation there. Let's take a look at, first I want to show you the audio that they recorded. Again, I'm not exactly sure if this is going to come through super well, but I will play it. If you want to check this website out at home, again, it's mars.nasa.gov/Mars2020, and you go to the multimedia section. and go to audio, and then you can listen to for yourself. Let me take a brief moment before we listen to the sounds of Mars to look at the chat, because I saw some more activity there. Let's see. Nicholas says, do you really believe that there is evidence of an ancient civilization on the surface of Mars? Well, I don't believe that. We've seen no evidence of a civilization, meaning complex life forms, intelligent life forms, producing an organized society like we have here on Earth. There's no evidence we know of that, so it's not something I would ascribe to. If we see evidence of it at some point, if we dig up portions of Mars and we're like, oh my gosh, there's a hidden city under here, well then how can you deny that? But we just don't have any evidence of that, so it's not something I would ascribe to. But there is enough evidence in the record, in the Martian record, that Mars was most likely habitable by life. So if life was able to form on Mars, it most likely would have survived in the ancient history of Mars. It most likely had a thicker atmosphere comparable to Earth, with more oxygen. There was more water on the surface, liquid flowing water, lakes, rivers, maybe small seas or oceans. There's plenty of evidence to back that up, and plenty of evidence in the geological record showing the lake beds and showing the riverbeds. And that's evidence that has come through over the past 2 decades or so. More and more has built up. Curiosity helped us understand more about that. The Opportunity and Spirit did too. They found little small spherical rocks, or they call spherules, or Martian blueberries, because they looked blue based on the image that came back, although that wasn't the true color. And those were evidence of sedimentary deposit and also erosion, smoothing out these rocks, something that mostly you see with water, eroding rock material away and smoothing them out. Like when you go into a stream, a lot of the rocks that are at the bottom of the stream bed are really smooth. So similar effect there. So in that sense, I definitely agree with the idea of ancient habitability of Mars. Now we want to know, was there life? And that's what Perseverance can help us do. Good question. Leanne, let's see, other Nicholas says, to Nicholas, that's pretty cool because, we're, of course, named after Nicholas Copernicus. So it's good we have a couple of Nicholases in the chat here. Leander says the upload camera looks like a little lens right near the color chips. Let's go back. Color chip here. There it is. Yes, I think I remember seeing that one yesterday. So many of these things, in the model making industry, when you're building Star Wars model, like a Star Destroyer or the Millennium Falcon or something like that, you put a lot of detail on it, but the detail doesn't mean much. They're called greeblies because of that. They're just little greeblies you throw on the model. And in that sense, a lot of these things look like greeblies to me. They're not. Everything serves a purpose on the rover. But it's just so hard to keep track of everything. Because it's not designed to look pretty, it's designed to work. You don't really care about the aesthetics as much when you're putting something on another planet. And that's totally understandable. So this is the uplook camera. Thank you for pointing that out. This is the color chip here that the mast cam, this color chip, can use to calibrate its sensor, so it can achieve better color accuracy and we can get better color images from the surface. There's a swatch just beneath it too that helps with that. Okay, what else do we have? Mary Carol Lindblom says, curious about the plutonium. Is it contaminating Mars? I.e., if there is life, microbial or whatever, isn't there a potential to do harm? So plutonium, in this sense, one, it is protected by this system here. NASA is very careful not to contaminate or otherwise harm any potential life in the solar system. Because if it is there, we want to find it. We don't want to hurt it. So one, they're careful not to send our own life on these spacecraft. They build these rovers and spacecraft in clean rooms, so they minimize contaminants getting on the rover. If you've seen these scientists build the rovers, occasionally they do live streams of that. You can see them all covered, and they have gloves on, they have face masks, goggles, everything. And that way they don't contaminate the rover in any way. So that's in one sense there. But more than that, this plutonium battery, while maybe you don't want to get right up close to it, it is shielded partially in this battery pack. A good portion of this is shielding. And it's plutonium, well, like I said, it is dangerous to be around, and you definitely wouldn't want to touch plutonium. But inside of this battery pack, it's low level enough radiation that it cannot harm potential life on the surface. That is a very good question and a critical one, because again, if it is there, we want to find it. Okay. Okay, and yep, you guys are just having a conversation more about it, so I'll let that continue, which is great. I love to see everyone talking to each other in the chat as well. One thing I do wish is that YouTube had a better reply system, so you could get message threads going. I know you could do like something like @ and then the username, but I wish it had a thread-based system that would make this go a lot better. We could get good threads, similar to like how I guess Reddit or something works. Okay, we are already at 8:07, but I'm not quite done, so I will keep going. Let me check the sky conditions quick and see if anything has changed. We'll go to the main website. Top cloud cover is still looking good, yeah. So we're okay there. We'll let the moon get nice and high up in the sky. I think if I go to Stellarium here for a moment, we gotta go back to live time. Yeah, Mars still has plenty of height in the sky there. We're good on Mars. The moon is just getting above our tree line based on where I'm seeing it here. So we have some time still, and I'll get the telescopes prepped. So we might delay a little bit later until 9, but I like the conversation that's going here, so we won't just do a hard cutoff, is what I'm saying. Okay, let's go back to main screen. And we talked about the instrumentation. Now I want to show you, if we go to news here, we'll go to the news. We'll look at the latest information from NASA about the rover. There's a couple of things, like here's the nearly 11 million names of Earthlings on Mars. So if you did put your name on Mars, if you went on the website and did that for Perseverance, probably, I think the last submissions are probably a year and a half or 2 years ago, then your name is on there. Pretty cool. Your name is on Mars. We'll look at this in just a second. I do want to point you to the parachute that deployed. The day they showed this footage, NASA said that there is a secret or an Easter egg message hidden in the parachute. And people quickly discovered that it was in binary. So this is actually binary in the parachute laid out here. And people discovered, let's see, I think it says dare mighty things. Yep. So you can see here the binary code works out like this. I'm not proficient in binary, so I can't quite explain this. I know there's a couple of people like Kopernik that could though. But it says dare mighty things on the parachute, which is pretty cool. There's little Easter eggs all over the rover in that sense, and we can look at a few in a moment here. That's testing the parachute. But if we go up to the top, this was a image taken by the HiRISE camera on the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. And the timing that had to take place for it to get a shot like this had to be absolutely perfect. This is a shot from a satellite orbiting Mars of the rover landing on the surface. How incredible. So the framing had to be perfect for this. You can see it's a pretty small shot. So it took this picture here, and then you zoom in and you get this tiny little image of the parachute and the capsule. Extraordinary though, no doubt on that. So that was a great picture too. Now I want to show you one of my favorite things that have come back so far. Again, amongst the many favorite things. This is the Mastcam Z's first 360-degree panorama. Now we did a 360-degree presentation a little while back talking about how these 360-degree images are assembled. A lot of times they are combinations of images. So you can almost think about what your smartphone does. You have a panorama mode on your smartphone that you just take and you circle around and take a full image of whatever you're looking at. That's similar to what happens here, except these are a little bit more detailed. This is many pictures, a large mosaic of images with extraordinary clarity. Like the resolution that you can see at is incredible here. So you can zoom in quite a bit on this image, and we're going to do that. But you can see the rover in this image. You can see the surrounding landscape, including the rim of Jezero Crater and the cliffs off in the distance there. There's also like a hill over here. I'm not necessarily certain if that's part of Jezero or not, or if it's a separate structure. But it landed in Jezero Crater, and it looks like it landed in a pretty decent spot on the surface. It's very flat area, very smooth area. It's honestly, I would probably describe it like you probably could only do better by paving this area of Mars. This is about as good as you can get for a natural spot on a planet. So it picked a perfect zone to land in, and it did have to live update its trajectory, and it did that with its autonomous mapping system aboard the rover. So it figured out, oh, I'm heading this way. Let me slightly change my trajectory to land in this flatter, smoother area to have better success. And it did it. It was a crucial point of the mission to make sure it could land safely. Okay, so we can zoom in here. It looks like that's the full, yeah, that looks good on the stream there. So let's zoom in, and you can get some really high resolution views of both the rover itself. Like here, if we zoom in here, we can see the color wheel and the swatches. And there's actually quite a bit to see on this color wheel. It actually is showing you a lot of the different life forms that are on Earth, from the simplest, like bacteria, to humans, to dinosaurs. There's a little, I think that's a dinosaur, right? Pretty sure. There's rockets, there's the solar system. They put things like this all over our spacecraft, partially as a symbolic reference. I mean, we don't often expect it to go anywhere, at least in the immediate future. But in the far future, either when there's other humans or other life forms, other intelligent life, you know, assuming they have similar possibilities to explore space, or you know, they dig this rover up after being buried in the Martian sand someday, then they have pieces of information about, I mean, obviously if you find something like this, it had to be from intelligent life, right? But it gives you some information about our history right off the bat. So it's really a nice symbolic gesture when you put these things on these spacecraft. Okay. And also there's that upshot camera. I wonder if you can see any dust. Any of the dust that covered it. It does look a little bit dusty. Oh, I forgot to play the audio for you, didn't I? I just skipped that. We'll go back to that. You can see Perseverance written out there. Let's look at the Martian surface, though. And you really can just keep zooming in on this image. Look at how detailed. You're seeing grains of sand in this image. Phenomenal. Pebbles, grains of sand. These rocks are super interesting too. These holes in the rocks, very curious. I'm not saying they're fossils, but it's an interesting detail on the rocks. They're definitely not fossils, because if there was this many fossils on the Martian surface, like look at how many rocks there are that have those little hole features in them. Yeah, that'd be pretty good evidence, but I'm not a geologist, so those are not, my guess is those are not fossils though. But you could just really take you can also see how it's pieced together, right? The mosaic of this panorama. There's a little bit of a glitch there. And as you get further out, of course, the resolution drops a little bit. Like you can't see the pebbles in that high a detail, but you can see the bigger surface features out in the distance, way out there along the rim of Jezero Crater. Just seeing, like, you think about these inanimate objects that have been on Mars like this, for like this rock here, weird shaped rock that's just standing up on the surface like that. That's been there for probably millions, if not billions of years. Like, and then, you know, these humans just come by, drop a rover on the surface, and start taking pictures. It's just amazing to think about. All of these things that were untouched by anything besides natural phenomena. And I guess in a sense we're natural phenomena, right? But it's brilliant to just view this image in this great detail and just explore. It's such a large file that, like, you can just keep looking for new things. And the rover will keep making these 360 panoramas. There'll be more than this, especially as it explores new areas. The nice part about the rover is that you can explore elsewhere if you want. Oh, there's the, what is this? The antenna. UHF antenna. It really does just keep going, huh? Look at it, there's this nice little, like, almost looks like a stratovolcano, like a small mountain there. It's not a volcano, but it looks like one. Anyways, I'll let you explore this. I could do this. I'm just getting trapped in my own head here, just observing the surface. So I'll let you go check it out on your own. But the amount of detail is just amazing. Okay, let's get out of that, and let's go quickly back to the Martian audio before I forget. I'm going to play some audio for you here. And again, I'm not sure how well it's going to come over the stream. I'm going to mute my mic so there's not any background noise, and you can just hear the Martian winds. We'll go one more time. Okay, so yeah, those were some very faint Martian winds, and this is really the first time we're ever hearing those. Like, it's comparable to if you take your phone outside and you record some video, but there's a good wind blowing into the microphone and getting that thumpy noise. That's basically what it is. But you're hearing that on Mars, and it's just, you know, you close your eyes. This is what actually the NASA scientists asked people to do in the audience when they first unveiled this. You close your eyes and you think about just being on the Martian surface and hearing that for yourself. It's really neat. The original file had the Perseverance rover noises included, the nice hum. And I kind of liked that originally, because not only did you hear the Martian winds, but you also heard that the rover was making noise on Mars. And that's not something we get to experience. It's not something we get to really think about. I mean, yes, computers, robots, you expect when they're moving things around, they're going to make noise, but you never hear it. And you actually heard the sound the rover's making. So there is an artificial sound being made on Mars and any other, rover that's there. Curiosity, I'm sure, is making a similar sound. It's making that audio on Mars, and that's all artificial. It's all just from humans sending something there. And for an area of, it's not like it's incredibly loud, so it's not necessarily noise pollution, I suppose. But for an area that has been untouched by intelligent life, it's kind of interesting to think about. Yes, Linda says that gets me emotional. I agree. Hearing audio and just closing your eyes and taking a second to imagine being on the surface, it's hard not to get emotional about it. Let's go back here and see if I missed anything. Nicholas is saying skies are looking good in Rome, Pennsylvania, so we will hopefully head out there soon. Lucid Moment says pumice. Yeah, those rocks very likely are similar to pumice. I'm not exactly. We have some Earth-based pumice here, and if I remember correctly, pumice is igneous, and it's often formed from explosive or stratovolcanoes. So it's very possible that that's what it is, and it came from ancient volcanoes in the Martian past. There is that massive Olympus Mons volcano on the surface, although it's pretty far away from where this rover is located. Yeah, it was pretty quiet. You really do need to listen to it at home, and someone suggested headphones. I do recommend headphones for it. It's pretty quiet, both in part because they had to remove some of the rover noise that was covering it up, but more than that, things are going to be quieter on Mars compared to Earth, simply because there's less air for sound to travel through. So in that sense, the audio is a little quieter for that reason too. Okay. Was there anything else I wanted to show you? I will show you two articles you can check out that are actually the director at Kopernik showed me. So this one from IFL Science is really neat, and you can see that there's some Easter eggs Perseverance smuggled to Mars. So there's these little things across the rover, like I said, like this one, a family portrait of Mars, and it's pretty cool. So check out that. There's art. You could just search for Easter eggs of Mars. That would be good. And then this last one I wanted to show you was, let's see if I can find. This actually is the image, I think. This was a shot taken from one of the cameras aboard the rover of the sky crane impacting the surface. It's nothing too crazy. It's not like they were able to take this picture from the mast cam, so it's not super high resolution. There was already a lot of dust in the air from the landing, but you can see this plume out in the distance from the crash landing of the sky crane. So pretty neat effect there. It's just more piecing together the landing process of the rover and seeing how it's impacted the surface. Okay, well that's about what I wanted to discuss about Perseverance for this week. I'm sure there's more to come. I mean, this isn't going to be a weekly thing per se, but if there's a time where we need a lot of information has come out about the rover, there's a lot of new images and info to share, I would like to do this again, and we can all chat about it like we did today. Again, spring is supposed to see the flight of Ingenuity for the first time, so we will definitely tune in for that. And again, hopefully there's some video. That would be so cool if we got video of the takeoff. How neat. All right, are there any, I will ask, I'll wait a minute or two, are there any final questions about Perseverance before I shut down this stream and we move over to the observing stream? We're going to move outside to the telescopes to observe the moon, the full moon. I think that's almost certain that we'll see the full moon. Mars, questionable how much detail we'd get out of it, but we can try it for sure. Those are really our only two options. Let me reload this web page because I think the chat got stuck again. Those are really our only two options because the sky is just going to be so blown out by the moon. It's going to be such a full moon there, so we won't really have much opportunity to look at star clusters and galaxies. Again, I'm hoping 2 weeks from now or so and I feel like I've said this so often, but the problem is that we just have had spotty skies here and there, and sometimes it just doesn't work out where I'm able to run a stream. So I'll do my best to, even if it's midweek, maybe we can do something observing for deep sky, because there's so much out there, and I want to look at Orion again before we can't see it and we head into spring and summer skies. And I want to look at star clusters like Pleiades and whatnot, and some of the galaxies that are out right now. There's a lot of stuff, so I want to do my best to get that going. Aaron says that they have cloudy skies here in Maryland. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. It's never fun, and I'm hoping that we don't have cloudy skies tonight either. It was all overcast here when I first came up, but that was a little while ago, so I'm hoping it's cleared away. The nice part about streams like this, not just ours, but any observatory across the world, when they hold streams like this, it's an opportunity for people that do have cloudy skies to observe what's out there. And more than that, if you're located at a different latitude and your skies are completely different than ours, you get to see something that you don't usually get to see unless you travel. I'm looking for some good southern hemisphere streams. I have to do some research on that to see if there's any potential collaboration opportunities there, where we can tune into their streams and see what's going on in the southern hemisphere, because that's something we never get to see. We never get to see like a significant portion of the sky. It's just lost to us. So we should check that out. Jcash says, had the chance to be tourist on Mars. Who knew? Yeah, I mean, it really does feel like that. It's almost as immersive as being there, it would seem. At least as close as you can get to it right now with our current technology. This is just phenomenal footage, and I think part of the reason the rover missions have somewhat lacked public appeal. I'm not saying the public has never been interested in them. They definitely are. And like as we're seeing here, you guys are interested. I think part of the reason is because unlike the moon missions, there just hasn't been as immersive video content and things to look at in great depth in that sense. Now, of course, there were great images from these missions still, and those were worth looking at alone. But there's something, again, about the video footage that really immerses you in the mission. Okay, well, it looks like there's no more questions, so I won't delay any longer. Give me, I planned for like a half hour in between. I hope to end at 8. Now we're ending at 8:30. Give me 20 minutes. Give me until 8:50, hopefully, and we'll have the stream all set to go. I just have to finish prepping the telescopes, and that's the big thing, and also get the radio room heated up so we can so I can comfortably observe. We did that last time and it worked pretty well. And I have a longer cord, a longer cable provided by one of the Kopernik Astronomical Society members that we can try out tonight. See if that works for us. So with that said, thanks for joining me tonight. If you enjoyed tonight's stream and you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to us. We'd love you to join our community. We love to talk about astronomy and scientific topics all around. We have a bunch of future presentations coming up. We try to do one once a week. Occasionally there's twice a week and we try to get an observing stream as often as our skies allow. So also, if you liked and enjoyed the content tonight, support us by hitting the like button, and this video will be available for you to watch afterwards. So feel free to look back if you tuned in later. And with that said, thanks for joining me. We'll go on the observing stream in about 20 minutes. So stay tuned. The link is already up. You can go to our channel to check that out. All right. So we'll see you in a bit, guys.